in the last book in the New Testament. And Newton sees Revelation as the story of Christianity.
Interpreters say Newton was convinced that the solution to the riddle of Armageddon lay in the Bible. In the book of Daniel, the first step toward a decisive cataclysm involves the return of the Jewish people to Jerusalem.
There are certain standard tools that people used where Daniel will say that the return of the Jews is going to be at a certain time in the future, and he describes it in terms of days. The standard interpretation is that Daniel's days really refer to years, and there is a period of 1,290 years in one place.
1,290 years. This is when Newton calculated that the Jewish people would resettle in their former homeland. But 1,290 years from when?
He has to decide when that period begins. So, throughout his life, he speculates with various commencement dates. One idea that he thought about was that it could have started in the year 609 AD.
609 AD is when the Roman Empire ceded part of its authority to the Church. Adding 1,290 years to 609 results in the year 1899, a time when Zionism was attracting more followers. Zionism is the movement that supports the return of the Jewish people to the Holy Land.
And we also see around that time in the 1890s the first Zionist Congress. So these are events that signal the beginning of Jewish Zionism. So some people point to the significance that his prediction about the 1290 year period was actually fulfilled.
The final chapter of Daniel contains another figure, 1,335. Adding this to the 609 AD starting point comes to 1944.
Clearly, 1944 is roughly the end of the Second World War, it's the end of the Jewish Holocaust, and both those events precipitated the birth of Israel in 1948. So it's possible to look at that particular apocalyptic interpretation, that particular chronology, and conclude that, well, maybe Newton was onto something.
But what of the supposed apocalypse? Newton struggled with identifying this date longer than any of his other prophecies.
He cross-referenced